Hello and welcome to the Publicly Challenged Podcast. I'm your host, Luke Oswald, and I hope you join me on my quest for knowledge to become a better public land hunter, angler, and forager. Stick with this and who knows, maybe we will learn something together. Welcome back to the Publicly Challenged Podcast, folks. This is Luke Oswald, and I'm sitting here with the other host, Clay Bowers. What's up, Clay? It's been a while since you and I jumped on and actually talked together, other than our weekly update, which actually hasn't updated yet, but it will very soon. So even though it's like a monthly / bi-monthly update at this point, holidays, whatnot, we explain that in there. So when that drops, it'll explain everything. This episode is just you and I sitting down, talking about some things. Maybe one could say even getting some stuff off our chest.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So, the thing that I really wanted to talk about.
Do you want to ease into that, though? Do you want to ease into it?
Yeah. I was going to say we could ease into it later. What I was going to say is we can first talk about Florida, but then I want to give people a little teaser right now and say that what we're going to talk about is my Substack, and that ruffled a few feathers. And that is the article I had that's titled "The Invasive Path to Citizenship."
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Florida. You went down there for a little bit. You were down in Miami, also known as Miami. That was a little
I went. Miami. That was fun. We went down for 4 days. It was just me, my daughter, or one of my daughters, and then Madeline. And it was a good time. We only went down for 4 days. Unfortunately, I was able to pick some coconuts and some papaya and kind of look around and see, but I don't know any foragers down there, so I was unable to have any kind of good time with the. Oh my God, you're gonna have to edit this part.
Nope. Not doing it.
My daughter just walked in the room, just started talking to me.
We didn't hear her talking, so it doesn't matter. But we're just gonna keep going, man. Who cares?
Yeah. So anyway, I went down and picked some papayas, but I don't know any foragers down there. So, and Miami's landscape is like freaking tropical, and it's like nothing like anything I've seen up here at all. And so I don't know basically any of the plants. I mean, maybe like a couple. Like I said,
what?
The coconuts and papayas. Yeah.
What do you mean? Because they're non-natives, Clay? Dare we say? What? Why don't you know any of the plants? I thought you were an expert. You could go anywhere and identify anything. What's going on here?
No. I actually, so we did that podcast with Arthur, and I really loved how he talked about how he was like such an expert to the place that he lives, and I really feel a lot like that. Like, I can go to places like Kentucky and North Carolina and teach foraging classes and stuff, but I'm more of an expert here in my environment.
So you're saying you go down to Florida and you're fish out of water, if you will.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The plant life is so bizarre down there, I'm sure you've seen it,
Yeah.
And then also the people, you go there and
bizarre. Florida, man. Yeah. I mean, it's always headlines, right? No offense, Florida. We love you. Love coming to visit. Who cares? Maybe I'd even live there. But the headline is always Florida man does this, jumping on trampoline naked and accosts neighbor or whatever. You know what I mean? Like there's always something, and maybe it's the sunshine just bleaches the brain a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah. I was very excited though to get to speak so much Spanish. As you know, I speak Spanish, and I don't get to practice it very often. Although I have been speaking Spanish for over 20 years now, I don't get to use it on a daily basis. So I spoke Spanish literally most of the time, probably more than English on that trip, actually.
Yeah. Would you say it was more of a Cuban population, or was it just melting pot?
No, Cubans, and then there were some Venezuelans, and I don't think I had a conversation with a single Mexican.
Well, the good news is, governor from Texas is bussing up or at least was until I don't know if it was Illinois confiscated his bus, whatever, but the governor from Texas, Abbott, was busing up people because of the border crisis, right? And they can't house
Mhm.
all these people. Not getting political or anything. I'm just saying they're shipping a lot here in Illinois.
Yeah.
So come to Illinois. You could probably practice, use your Spanish a lot more than you normally would be able to, I guess. I don't know. And
Yeah.
yeah, come visit.
Actually, Traverse City is now every year there's more and more Mexicans coming up here for finding work and stuff in a lot of the cherry orchards that we have and the grape vineyards. And it's been pretty cool to see that because now I can go to the Mexican food store and get that little burst of speaking Spanish out. It really is. It's like a compulsion. Like I have to do. Like I feel like I need to do it to keep it so that I'm speaking fluently and stuff.
Understand? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
What do you do for like German or French
yeah.
or
But
how
I
do you
can't.
feel like you speak fluently in any of those? Or Polish? Was there Polish in there
No, no,
too?
no, no, no. No. I'm learning French right now, but because I speak Spanish, it's like pretty dang easy to like kind of translate it over to French in my head.
What?
Yeah, it's just like
I know Italian
French.
and Spanish are very close. Like a
Yeah, but
lot of the
French.
stuff.
Okay, but French, Italian, Spanish, and I believe Romanian. They all have the same grammar. They all use the exact same like if you make a sentence in Spanish, you can make a sentence in French.
Okay. All right. What
Yeah.
about German?
German is totally different. German is crazy. Yeah. German is
10
nuts,
different
man.
words to describe one thing.
Oh, there's like uh so many ways to just say the depending on where it falls in the sentence. Yeah, it's a wacky language. And I know that this is a hunting, foraging, and fishing podcast, but for those of you who are interested, um, languages tend to be more complex with the less speakers. So that's why, like, a language like Mandarin Chinese is actually super like basic and easy, like as far as like not its tones, but like the words and the expressions and the way things are stated are like actually pretty easy to understand because it's the world's biggest second language, basically that and English. So things that are widely spoken by a lot of people are actually usually easier to speak, and then languages like German are super complex because they have such a small supply of people speaking them.
Hmm.
So
Interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
I've been in yeah. Well, I didn't look at it like that. These are things that I read in linguistics articles.
Yeah. Quite the linguist.
I I like linguistics. Yeah, so whatever.
All right. So, in English, we will continue this podcast. All right.
But
Non-natives. You found some non-natives down there, and you consumed them. How are they? Did you have to
um,
shimmy all the way up a tree to get these coconuts?
I shimmied up a small coconut tree and then harvested some. And I also got to say I'm not good at deciphering like what is a ripe coconut and what is not. you know?
Green ones depends on how green it is, right? Beyond
Yeah,
ripe would be like really brown.
yeah, yeah.
That's not
And
what I've learned, but
yeah, like I picked a couple that I cracked them open, delicious, like the green with the water.
Mhm.
And then I picked another one and it just tasted like salt water.
Was it
And then
cracked open and maybe it was?
no, no, I don't think so. Uh, and the biggest bummer was so my older two kids didn't come with me because they were at their mom's house, but I brought back a coconut, brought it in my carry bag, everything, flew it home, and then me and my son were just cracking it open yesterday, and it was like a dud. There was nothing inside of it.
Oh,
Yeah, so it came from a tree that had a really tasty coconut mead and coconut milk on the inside, and yeah, we cracked it open and there was nothing in it.
well, that sucks.
Yeah, it
But
was a bummer.
yeah, I've had that. I don't know. I've consumed a lot of coconuts, but I never really paid attention. A dude showed me how to shimmy up a tree, and you just
Hmm.
basically like lean on your hands and like lift them up, and then push with your feet and keep doing that.
Hmm.
Um,
Wow.
and yeah, we ate coconuts and drank them. I drank them to the point to where they can actually work as a laxative.
Hmm.
A lot of people don't know that because you drink one coconut water, not a big deal. Drink about 10 coconuts, it's a different story.
Yeah. How? Where was that at?
Costa Rica.
Oh, in
I
Costa Rica.
believe
Okay.
they were native there.
No, they're not. I don't think.
Really? Do you believe they were
Yeah,
brought there then?
yeah. So I just did this. I just did this big deep dive of reading about coconut
Cool.
while I was down there because I was like, I really want to understand like what this is. And yeah, it looks like they originated in Indonesia and kind of um, people, like seafaring people brought them all over the place. And then I was under the impression that coconuts could just like float on the ocean for years on end and just, hit land and kind of
Grow a
sprout up
tree,
and
yeah.
make a tree. And then apparently that's not true. Apparently, like there was this explorer guy, Thor, who sailed a raft from South America to Africa.
Okay.
He took coconuts with him, and he basically um, said that the ones that were in the hold below, that were getting like salt water on them all the time,
Yeah.
below ship, they did not sprout and could not. He said that they actually just like went bad.
Mm, very
Um,
interesting.
yeah, so basically, there's this concept that I'm really thinking. Like, I'm curious why more people don't espouse this, but I think that humans are a vector for carrying plants around the world.
Absolutely.
And but we, if you listen to the way ecologists or biologists speak, they say that like like when humans do it, it's not natural, right?
I
Yeah.
see that's a tough one because it is, right? It is natural if we've been doing it for as
Mhm.
long as we have existed,
Yeah.
right? And that's
Yeah.
that's a hard concept for people to grasp onto, you know,
Yeah.
that oh well no, yeah, well I don't care if you say we descended from freaking apes or we were created. Either
Mhm.
way, we've been carrying around plants,
Yeah.
propagating them, growing them, all that stuff since forever. We are wild tenders. And
Yeah.
and to say which now it leads right into it, doesn't it, Clay? You framed that on
Yeah.
purpose, didn't you?
No, I did not, but it
You
worked.
did.
It worked out. It worked out
Because your
perfectly.
Substack talks about that. And the
Yeah.
passport to what was it?
The
Citizenship?
the the invasive passport to
Yeah.
citizenship. Yeah.
I mean, people complain about, invasive and native. And yes, invasive at times does a lot of ecological damage to native plants or so called natives, right?
Mhm.
But sometimes it works out. It's just got to be long enough to where it maintains or reaches an equilibrium. Go on.
Yeah.
Talk about this.
Oh, well, so my Substack is basically talking about the uselessness of fighting a war against invasive species that we're never going to win, and just basically like we need to come to some sort of like acceptance and change in our heart, and maybe that means that we need to fight invasive species to an extent to help save natives
Right.
rather than fighting a war of eradication, right? So, like, framing it in a different way in your head, I think does make a difference. If you are thinking, like, okay, in 100 years, I'd like to see autumn olive be a member of our society, or like the plant ecosystems, and what does that mean to you? How will that look? Like is autumn olive going to be something that is going to be present on the landscape, but like not that present, you
Right.
know? And that's kind of the thing that I was trying to espouse. And you got like so many of the invasion biologists, like the believers in that sort of theory, they were just like losing their marbles. Like,
Not even
and it was,
biologists, everyday people,
yeah,
foragers, whoever. And honestly, though, I don't even think half of them read it.
No, I don't think so
They
at all.
they read, or maybe they read like the first paragraph, your introduction to it,
Mhm.
and then we're like, oh, this is terrible, and
Yeah.
didn't read it. But no, I mean, so like kudzu vine, or however you say it, right?
Hmm.
I, I think I was in like North Carolina, somewhere on the coast, and it was like, I'm like, what are these vines all over, like just encroaching, climbing up trees, absolutely everywhere, and I'm like, what is this? It turns out it was that, and it's like, holy cow! I could see that completely devastates a landscape. Like, I mean, it just
Hmm.
wiped out everything. It was just everything was covered in it, blanketed,
Yeah.
and I could see where that's super damaging. But once again, what if you did cut it back, harvested it, used it for something? Makes sense to me.
Yeah. h- I'm interested. We're gonna have Tom Wessels on pretty soon, right? And he talks a lot about that. And one of his videos online is the concept that like, so if you look at it a Virginia creeper will stop short of the canopy.
Really?
So yeah, so it climbs up the tree and it kind of stops short of the canopy. And he says that's an evolutionary adaptation that basically so if you're a vine like kudzu, the last thing that you really want to do is like actually smother out your host and then fall down
Yep.
on
Because
the
then you'd
ground,
be on
right?
the ground. Yeah.
Yeah, so he said that what will happen eventually with a lot of invasive vines, I think I'm trying to remember, is that basically like they will find some sort of equilibrium over time. You know, they're gonna basically like have to, because otherwise killing your host is not a good thing. I mean, that's not even a good thing for any virus or any bacteria or anything, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, so like you want these things that you're literally, being supported by
Yep.
to be able to be standing. And that's like the vine, right? So when you think of things like the honeysuckle or like the oriental bittersweet, I'm sure that stuff is terrible by you, right?
I hate the fact how hard it is to keep it out of spots you want it out of.
Yeah.
You can't
So,
work with it in certain
mhm,
spots. Like, I
yeah.
don't mind it as a hedgerow, right? Like
Mhm,
interspersed between osage. Fine. But when it's
mhm.
like somehow it starts popping up in the middle of your yard, like there's a problem. And you can rip it out, or so you think, and just one piece
Mhm.
of that root, the next year it's back. It's crazy.
Yeah, I know. This new house that we moved into has bittersweet along the fence. The neighbors had somebody, either the people who previously lived in my neighbor's yard or the people who lived in my yard previously, planted it on the fence.
Mm,
And yeah, it's so resistant. I mowed over it,
that doesn't do
all,
anything but make it grow
yeah,
better.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mowed it all summer long, and it's still alive as far as I know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's impossible. Like, there's spots where I've cut and then like spot applied herbicide to it, right? To
Mm,
where like over each one, touched it, sprayed it, died, and then 2 years later
just
came
resprouting.
back. Yeah,
Yeah.
unreal.
So so like a plant like that, yeah, it's very problematic and not fun to deal with. But the whole point that I was trying to make in that article was that plants like even plants like those will eventually come to some sort of equilibrium. Like they can't be like that forever. It's literally impossible.
Correct, because it would
It,
make itself extinct.
yeah. So yeah, but I just, we had all kinds of people just
Their minds
absolutely,
exploding and their emotions just flying and spattering the socials
yeah.
with diarrhea of the keyboard,
Oh
if
yeah.
you
Yeah.
will.
Yeah. I had and then I wrote a follow-up piece because like I had a lot of people saying like what's the point? Like a lot of those people like they didn't get it. Like I don't know if you read those comments where people were like I just don't get it. Like what are you even talking about? And I'm like, okay, I don't know
Well,
how you
that's
don't
somebody who
get
doesn't
this.
know plants. Like,
Yeah.
It,
But so I wrote a follow up with actual like so there was three plants that I talked about: autumn olive, buckthorn, and garlic mustard, and things that I would kind of do to help integrate them.
mhm.
Okay, but my opening paragraph says tongue in cheek. Um, it says my last article stirred up a bloodthirsty mob over at Will Forage for Food on Facebook,
Yeah.
and and
Oh, I
and I
never
said,
even looked at the Will Forage for Food, so I have no idea what that group, how they accosted you. All I saw was your your uh, your Instagram post that was just on your account. So
okay,
I don't
yeah,
even know what the other comments were. And if it's a bloodthirsty mob, it shows
yeah,
how narrow-minded. And we've talked about this before with like Patrick
yeah,
Durkin, right?
yeah,
Just people are so emotional and they don't
yeah,
use logic or rational thought anymore. It's
mhm,
disgusting.
yeah.
It
Well,
really
and
is.
then yeah, and then they just like you can't like just disagree with somebody and then just still be a friend with them, right? Like it's like impossible.
What do you mean?
I'm not saying you, I'm saying like these like people like that with that mindset, right? Like me and you, I feel like I could have something that I don't agree with you
Yeah,
on, and then I would still be your friend.
because we have enough common sense to find enough common ground that we can find a solution to the problem or just agree that we have a different thought process on
Yeah, so on Facebook, the point that I was trying to make
it.
is so the um that Will Forage for Food group, I mean, I had people who basically seemed like if they had the opportunity, they would like, shun me to like the far ends of the earth where I wasn't allowed to speak anymore,
Wow.
because they didn't like what I was saying. And mind you, just like you said, I could tell they hadn't actually read the article that I wrote. They
It's so,
they're they're commenting like commenting with emotion, right?
yeah.
Like just yeah.
Let's go into this. Do you think people have been trained to be so emotional they no longer use logical thought?
I do think there's probably something to that, right?
Yeah,
I mean, because it seems like our society is in like a state of hysteria.
all the time.
Yeah, and like we um 2016 came around and I swear to God, the Trump election it's just like
People lost their
bro
minds over politics. For years, it barely mattered, other than a few
yeah,
hot button issues, right?
yeah,
A
mhm,
few of them. And we all know what they are. We don't even have to say them, right?
yeah,
One of them
yeah.
rhymes with smortion. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
like, people would lose their minds over that, but didn't care much about anything else. And then
Mhm,
all of a sudden, media
mhm.
started putting an angle and just I feel like they opened up somebody's mind and just started shoving stuff into it, and then
Yeah.
people blurt it out and regurgitate it without actually stopping to think. And this is both sides. I don't care what you watch, Fox News or CNN or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's it's
Mhm.
both sides. It's the media itself. Now, is it by design? Is it by selfish, just I don't even have words for what I'm trying to say right now.
Yeah.
But any way you look at it, it's messed up. And it's crazy to think that people really, truly don't even think for themselves anymore. Now, granted, social media, everything else, I mean, you're constantly being bombarded, not to mention algorithms of social media are designed to put you in an echo chamber. It doesn't
Mhm.
help.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
myself, I try and get around that
Yeah. How do you do that?
by intentionally liking stuff or looking at stuff that I normally wouldn't look at. Now
Yeah.
you don't have TikTok, so you wouldn't understand this. But it's like an
Mhm.
FYP, right? For you page. And
Mhm.
your for you page is your algorithm, and it's just stuff that you like keeps popping up and it always feeds you new stuff. Okay? It's
Mhm.
not like social media like Instagram. But on TikTok, like I'll purposely seek something out and search it and my algorithm is so screwed up I think it just randomly feeds me stuff. Because a lot of guys are like, oh, all I see is, hot chicks on there and stuff. I'm like, because that's all you look at. Like,
Mhm.
where did you find that? You know what I mean? And like, I will intentionally seek out just weird stuff, and then because
Yeah.
it's so random, like it doesn't know what to feed me, so it just keeps feeding me just randomly generating stuff and throwing it at me. It's pretty cool actually
Do
because
you,
I explore a lot that way.
do you know that honestly, I get irritated with algorithms a lot, like especially at home with Netflix. Um,
Yep.
you get like the same crap over and over and over again, and then
Hmm.
you go onto somebody else's Netflix, and you're like, hey, well, I want to see some of these things. Why aren't they on mine?
Yep. It's scary. It's
Yeah.
scary. So that leads you into AI and the fact that AI can manipulate you and make
Mhm.
you do things based upon your behaviors online.
Yeah, but see, like to me, I just think it's so stupid. Like I don't want, like I'm the type of person who, like, I like trying out new things.
Oh yeah.
Um, and I like differences, and you know, I might not like to watch a romantic comedy. Like
There's some of them
that's
that make me just,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like they're great.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
classics in my opinion, but
I know.
uh,
So, but the point is like Madeline's Netflix is full of that, and then mine is full of all this like man stuff, right? But
like what?
I want to be
I
able.
want examples.
I don't know. Like I have.
Like Russian war movies or like I went on my
Because
dad's one time and I was like, "What are these?" Like I never cuz I don't watch a bunch where I have to like actually read subtitles. If I'm sitting down and
oh
watching a movie like I don't want to have to read subtitles. I'll go read a book.
yeah
But
yeah
so like there's all these like Russian war movies and stuff on there and I'm like, "Where the heck did these like what is this?" Or like German, they're in German or whatever. And some of them are actually really good.
yeah
I sought them out and watched them, and they still don't pop up in my feed though. But I see what you
yeah
mean. Maybe I need to start
yeah
confusing Netflix if I subscribe again. I actually canceled my Netflix.
yeah. I had this idea, and Madeline didn't like it. I said that we should just use one and just look up movies from both of our perspectives and
Hmm.
totally confuse it. you know.
Right?
Um, but no, it's not, and so like what ends up happening is we get these siloed into these like little like spaces that they put
Hmm.
us in, and they say, here, you watch this,
Yeah.
and it's really like frustrating because remember going to a movie store back in the day? You would just
I
look around.
Clay. I just talked about this the other night.
Yeah.
Because I recently got a projector, and so like we
Mhm.
put up a big screen up on like the balcony, and then shoot the projector on it and we like turn the couch a little bit sideways and we could sit there and have just giant screen and we hook up the Roku to it and watch
Mhm.
movies. And I was like, it sucks to know that my kids will never experience going into a video store, wanting one movie, settling for something else and totally loving it because
Mhm.
the other movie wasn't out or keep checking in
Yeah.
to see if that movie's in and it's not and okay well we'll just get this movie and have that selection like that because everything is there, it's always available, and my kids still
Mhm.
want to watch the same stuff. Not that I'm complaining because
Yeah.
they like really cool movies like Back to the Future, so
Mhm.
they love those movies. In fact, my kid, the youngest one, probably would watch that every day. If that was the only movie he had, he'd be happy with that. Which,
Back to the Future.
yeah,
That's
well,
funny.
and what's funny is each one of my kids like one of the three, and they're hoping there's another one coming out. And I had to explain to him that Marty McFly um, has Parkinson's really bad, and it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah. Um, but I guess I was trying to make a different point with the video store thing. was was that when you walk around in the video store,
You get to see
you
all the
could
other options. Yeah, I get it.
you get to see all of the
Yeah,
options. Yeah, and you walk
including
around and,
the back room with the gross stuff. But
yeah, yeah, and usually you only saw people with trench coats walking out of that one.
normally,
No,
yeah,
yeah,
typically,
just
or
kidding.
your high school principal or whatever. But yeah,
Yeah, so I don't know. That's the biggest bummer of algorithms in general, and then Here's an interesting thing, I guess, is that you've been seeing Sam Thayer been freaking out about AI
Yeah, we
on his
talked about
Facebook.
that. Yeah, I have not seen that on his Facebook. I've
Oh, you haven't?
barely hit up Facebook.
Yeah,
Honestly, I
Facebook is
don't
pretty
care for
lame.
Facebook, but a lot of
Yeah,
people do, or at least
yeah,
older people. I don't know.
yeah. It's lame, but
Yep.
if you use it like okay, today I posted my upcoming foraging classes. I post. I'll purposely go to groups like Ann Arbor, like post things like there'll be like community message boards for places like Ann Arbor,
Sure.
and I post my class to those every once a month.
Sure.
And today I posted that, and I got like 10 people signed up today. You know,
That's good. That's
yeah.
good.
So it's like Facebook is important to me for marketing my foraging classes.
Yeah.
And but other than that, yeah, it's a dumpster fire. It's crazy. You like we already talked about. Will Forage for Food, the group. I posted my Substack and had people losing their marbles. And then Sam Thayer has been talking a lot about AI, and he's been calling it a what did he say? A complex plagiarism software. He's calling Chat GPT. Um,
Sure.
and,
Yeah.
and actually, so I'll just say this: I have not weighed in on it. He said that he claimed there was no good use for Chat GPT, and I think he is like a little bit angry at Chat GPT because of all the AI foraging books coming out
Sure.
and that stuff. But I think that he is incorrect. I think that there is some good for large language models, which is what that is. Chat GPT is not AI. It is a large language model, and it's just gathering up
Yeah.
information
Oh,
to
that's
give to
all
you.
it's doing. Yeah. It's just. I
Yeah,
mean, it's a it's a search engine, right? But it
yeah.
compiles everything and puts it together for you. Although you can do some pretty cool stuff with it. I've seen um, a dude. I was talking to him and I'm like, yeah, I haven't really messed with it or anything. He's like, oh, I've got it. Let's come up with something
Mm,
random and make it do it. And he did.
yeah.
And he says, uh, can you make me a breakup text for my girlfriend as if Jack Sparrow wrote it?
Oh my god.
And it did. And I mean,
Yeah.
it was funny because the dialogue was like Jack Sparrow wrote this breakup text, and it's like, my heart needs to roam the seas and can't be anchored in your like in the moors of your heart or whatever. Like it was good. Um,
Wow.
but I mean, there's a lot of applications to it. Did you see the newest one that AI? I think it was Adobe or somebody used AI and generated software that could detect photoshopped images within photos or something like that.
Mm.
And then like I like all the memes because it's just funny random stuff, but like some of them are like, oh, all these girls gonna be in trouble now or whatever, on dating profiles. Then another one was like, what did it say? It was like all the people at NASA, and it showed a dude just like sweating.
Oh, it's like one of those like ones that the moon is fake or whatever,
Well,
or
yeah,
there's
yeah,
yeah, or nobody's been to space thing.
yeah. Now, I'm
Yeah.
not saying nobody's been to space. I don't think that at all. But I think
Hmm.
maybe in the 60s we might have been in a little bit of a rush and might have lied about a lot of things. Just saying.
Yeah. No. I'm with you on that. I think that maybe we did go there, but then the footage was faked or something. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, we don't
Yeah.
know. And I'm not going to
Yeah.
speculate that I do know. But I definitely think, yeah, there's been some stuff. But then, like,
Yeah.
now the AI and the deep fakes with, like, people talking.
Mhm.
And then, like, so they take video footage of somebody that's real video footage. And then it can manipulate the video footage and make the person's mouth match
Yeah.
whatever you want it to say.
Mhm.
That's scary because now
Yeah.
tying in, just like I said before, to where AI can manipulate you, they can make it say something that pisses you off
Yeah.
and then put that in your feed
Mhm.
and continually do that to the point to where it's not a spark anymore, but it's a fire. and
Yeah.
use that for social unrest or whatever
Hmm.
the agenda or whatever it wants. And if it does discover self-preservation, like you and I have talked about this before, we're screwed anyway
Hmm.
because it's going to be Terminator.
Yeah.
So
Man, yeah, but I guess I just really feel like Chat GPT is a good tool for humanity,
I think it
and
is.
that
Well, it redefines how people are going to write like uh, papers from now on, though. I mean, how do you
yeah, I
really
mean,
know if it refines it? Sometimes you could tell that AI wrote something, but not always.
I mean, I have messed around with it and said like, write 3 paragraphs on wild parsnips or something one time,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just for my own like just
To see,
curiosity,
yeah.
and I looked at it and it was terrible. Like it was like, like obviously something that was like not not good.
Mm-hmm.
As somebody who does like to write, I can't see people being like getting a Substack and then like enjoying and actually liking the writing style of a robot.
True. But if you
I
were
mean,
trying to spam a Substack, get it to where random people click through it all the time, and then
mm,
put a bunch of ads in it, I could see where it might work.
yeah, but I don't know if Substack
Maybe
can.
not a
I don't think.
Substack, but whatever.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I mean? Like,
like a blog.
yeah, like a blog or something, and then did it to where, your search words or whatever came up through Google, what SEO or whatever, you know, that
Yeah,
popped up to where randomly it's just a bunch of people were happening to search whatever and click through your stuff, whether it was garbage or not, just to
yeah.
hopefully find some information. I can see how that would work. Maybe.
The thing I just think is like we should have labeling, right? Like
Yeah.
it should say like written by Chat GPT.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so it's like out in the open. And if you like it, you like it, and if you don't, you don't. Like I fall more into the category of people who's like, I would rather something that I don't like be allowed to exist, and then people be able to make the choice of whether or not they consume
Just
that.
like so-called invasive species. Once again, it comes right back to that, Clay. But then again, that's the difference between being open-minded and thinking your opinion is the only opinion that matters.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
problem. That's the crossroads we're at. But has this problem only existed now in present time, or has it always existed? And now
You
it's
mean
just amplified because people have access to a means of constantly berating people with their opinion.
I don't know. That's curious. I'm curious. Like for sure. Like did ancient Greek, people like you voted for Socrates? Oh, I'm never
Yeah,
gonna be your friend again.
they might have. I could see that, you know. But
Yeah.
now the only difference is they feel they have more influence, right? To be
Mhm.
able to just go out and speak their mind and be a keyboard warrior and berate people over their own opinions or over somebody else's opinions, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a bummer. But the other day I was trying to look up this thing. I thought like none of this will at all make any difference either, though, when our continents in some point in the future collide again, and then like all the plants exchange.
Yeah.
It's
or
gonna
or
be
they
like,
get flooded out, or they.
yeah. But that's the thing is like, for me, I've said it a million times in many of the articles that I write. I like to think in terms of like tens of thousands of years,
Hmm.
and not in these like chunks of like, it truly does like seem like some people will think of like history as being like 500 years, right? Like they think like white people got here to this country 500 years ago, so that's the start date for everything in my mind. you know
Okay, all right, yeah, that's, I mean, one way to look at it. But what about, the so-called natives that also probably migrated here? at some point and brought along a lot of plants along with them and
Oh
planted
yeah,
them. You know what I mean? Like
yeah. I mean, yeah. Who knows? You know,
walked across
native.
the land bridge and
Mhm.
and picked up and planted things along the way.
Oh, I'm sure it happened. 100%. It has to have happened.
Unless dun, 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 they were already here.
Yeah, maybe they were the original people. Who knows? You know.
Nobody knows. It's all
Yeah.
speculation. But what I find funny is like how people will like, especially in um, archaeological finds and things like that, they will stand on that hill and they will die on that hill. And anything that comes along, another theory, discovery, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's all BS. It doesn't matter, right? Because
Yeah.
what they believe in is the only way it ever happened. And then you find like a bison skull that's not supposed to be there, and or it's or everything else is 2,000 years old or 2 million years old, whatever. And then there's like another one that's 500 years old, but that bison should have never been there because it was extinct and it was never native here. You know,
Hmm.
that's come on. Nobody knows. It's all a guessing game.
Yeah. For sure. One time I read an article saying that they thought that Australian people were the first people, and that the theory, you know, how it's like called the out of Africa theory, like that humans emerged from Africa a long time ago.
Hmm.
This was like some scientist guy claiming that everybody came from Australia and not Africa. And just like you said, it's like how do you possibly know?
Yeah,
Like how can you possibly like I mean, they say humans are 300,000 years old, and that's based on like finding chunks of skeletons, you know,
yeah,
and then they'll like be like, well, this chunk of a finger
yeah.
looks like.
Well, that's like carbon dating and the fact that
Mhm.
there's some theories out there that debunk and say that if the Earth was covered in a lush canopy and the atmosphere had more moisture in it, and that canopy would protect from a lot of the UV rays, therefore things that we think are so many million years old really aren't, that they could be
Really?
three. Yeah, but nobody is going to back that theory if it debunks their theory and completely disproves all the carbon dating on everything that's ever been done.
So explain this to me again. You like I gotta look this up. This is pretty
Yeah,
interesting.
but so we'll talk more about it. But basically, that if there was a lush canopy and there was a lot more moisture and it blocked a lot of the UV rays, everything that
Mhm.
we have our baseline right wasn't really you know 22 million years old. It might be like 2,000 years old from the time that the canopy was depleted and whatever, and that's where the start of the UV started breaking things down, the carbon.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
So
Yeah.
so what if that's true? But
That's very interesting.
nobody, because every scientific thing that's been carbon dated would be completely disproven at that point,
Yeah.
and nothing else would, everything would have to be rethought.
Yeah, why is it like that? Everybody's got these ideas that like have to be like that's like who they are, you know?
Narrow mindedness, man.
Yeah, it's like they're married to their ideas, you know, and like
Hmm.
somebody it's ego. It's like
Yeah.
big ego, right? Like you would think that if you were in that science field, you would be like, I'm going to support whatever is scientifically accurate.
Hmm.
But it's like they get into that position and then all of a sudden they're like, well, it's not accurate because of this and this and this.
Yeah.
And they'll do whatever they can to like kind of dissolve another person's like science.
Well, that's okay. Us talking about that just made me think of another guest, and now we're gonna have to get him on. But it's a dude that lives down towards Southern Illinois, uh, Judd McCullum,
Mhm.
and he actually found mammoth tusks, and turns out that these mammoth tusks that he found are totally like disproves they thought it was already extinct, and his pushes it like I don't know quite a few thousand years. So now it's like 10,000 years versus whatever they thought for like here in Illinois. So it's like his are the oldest like found.
Or you mean the youngest found?
Or no, I think it's the oldest. So like now it pushes it even further back. Like they weren't here at a certain time or something. Like I think it's oldest.
Okay.
Or maybe or whatever it is. Maybe it is. Maybe it's the other way around. It's like the most recently found. So instead of being, you know, whatever 5 million years, it's now like a million years or whatever. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, I just finished a book called it was all about Ada Blackjack. I don't know if you know who she was.
She's the chick that lived on whatever island, right?
Yeah, Wrangel Island.
Wrangel Island.
Yeah, Wrangel Island.
When there was mastodons or whatever on
No. She didn't live when there was mastodons. No.
How do we know that?
Because she didn't say she saw it. She lived. She survived. Unless she was,
but maybe she.
Yeah, but she.
What?
Maybe she was. She was. It's a cover up. She actually survived. Yeah, she survived, and then came back and hid the identities of the numerous mammoths that she befriended.
Absolutely. What if? Hear me out on this. Just like Encino Man, right? With Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
Zer, not Zer. Zer. Where she thawed out and then lived on the island, and she knew how to survive on the island because she'd lived there previously, and everybody thought like, oh, she was just lost here.
Except for she came on a boat with 4 white guys.
Whatever. Minor details. It's a cover up. It's a cover up.
But yeah, so that was the last known place that mastodons or mammoths lived.
Yeah. So how about, hear me out on this, the dude up in Alaska with the boneyard? Have you heard about this?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they just keep uncovering stuff, and he's got like mastodons with like half a brain still exposed that they can.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
Doesn't he call it going boning?
It does. You're a boner now. You're a boner.
You're a boner.
You're a boner. If you find bones in the boneyard, you are an unofficial boner, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, he had mentioned on Joe Rogan's podcast that the previous owners of the land that he owns sold some of their stuff to a museum that dumped them in the East River or something.
Smithsonian.
Yeah. And
Smithsonian, tons, 22 tons.
Yeah. And did you see that they, some scuba divers found some of that stuff?
Yeah, I totally believe it. But why did the Smithsonian do that? Let's talk about that. Let's get into that.
Yeah. Oh,
why did the Smithsonian dump bones of giants, actual giant bones, in the ocean?
Yeah. I don't know. Why did they do that?
I don't know. I have theories.
Okay, but here's the question though. I'm with you. Like I 100% have looked this up and I believe it. But just saying it, I know that there's going to be eye rolls.
Good. And I don't care.
Yeah.
Because you know what? Once again, that's that narrow-mindedness. They can't ever hear something and just think or go, well, maybe. Why? Why not? Because they have their ideas, and that's the only thing they ever want to hear. I have my thoughts. Are they completely different than somebody else's? Probably.
Okay, but so, it seems like there's ample evidence that they actually did have giant bones.
Yeah.
They did have like skeletons of extremely large hominids.
Yeah.
Unearthed
all over. And even
where are they?
Newspaper articles.
Yeah.
Of this happening.
Yep. I know. But then they'll like vehemently deny it. And then some people will just say it's like nonsense, right?
Yeah. But now if someone's biblical, right? Even without the book of giants in the Bible, but still being in the Ethiopian Bible, without the book of Enoch being in the actual, King James version of the Bible, right? The modern printed text. There are those books. They do exist. But without those books even, the actual Bible still talks about giants. And there are other texts throughout history that talk
Yeah.
about giants as well.
Yeah. So what would be like? This is why I always I get up against this wall is like, why would they care about us knowing that there were giants in the past? It's the same thing. I like. Why would they care about us like knowing that there were aliens? You know?
Why would they care? Exactly. Unless there was something that they didn't want us to know, I would assume, right? Now, I could be completely wrong, but if you didn't want somebody to know because there's still something that exists, contains some type of knowledge that you
Mhm.
don't want people to have. I mean, a prime example of that, whether you want to admit it or not, but like the Catholic Church in England and everything else used religion to control people, and that's why
Oh
they
yeah.
wanted them illiterate so they could tell them things without them actually reading the text.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, and you do that throughout history in many different circumstances.
No, I mean, and that's totally backed up by facts. You know, that's why Martin Luther was so hated and scorned and
Correct.
excommunicated.
Yes.
You know, yeah, how dare you write it so that the common people can read this?
Yeah. So, I mean, there's that. We got way side railed, which is cool because I love rabbit holes, but um, it all does tie back to plants and people and, you know.
So okay. Here's a question for you. More on topic for our podcast. If giants were still around, would you hunt them? Just kidding.
The question is, would they hunt you?
Yeah, probably, huh?
Because according to some things, giants, so fee, fi, fo, fum, right? Like,
Mhm.
that's all about a giant,
Yeah,
and it's eating men. So
yeah.
chances are and so that's the thing. Like, there's a lot of fairy tales and folklore and stuff that also goes with it. Now, folklore most of the time wasn't 100% accurate, but there was some grain of truth within all of it. So,
I mean, yeah. How about C.S. Lewis? You know, the Narnia books. One of those books, I believe it is the Silver Chair. Um,
I've only
in the
seen the
silver.
movies as a kid. So,
Oh, okay. Well, you're missing out, man. I've read the book series like 14 times probably.
that's because you're
It,
a bigger nerd than I am. No offense.
it-
Because it's pretty cool.
well,
Because you know a lot more than me. Because you do read more than me. But
see it, yeah, but in the Silver Chair, I believe the main characters are brought in by some giants, and they're like, oh, like this is nice, and they're treating them really good, and then they go into the kitchen, they sneak in, and they find that the book is turned to the page for the recipes for human meat.
yeah,
Yeah,
totally
so,
believe it.
yeah,
No, there's all kinds of stuff that we'll never know the answer to, or we'll have a lot of thoughts and theories and whatnot. And who knows, maybe we'll even get red flagged on this podcast for for our thoughts and opinions. But I mean,
yeah,
that's all they are. It's just thoughts, random musings of two people sitting here conversing with each other,
yeah,
listening to each other's opinions without arguing or losing our minds.
yeah. Oh, I can say something that was kind of cool. That actually is on subject. Is that a few weeks ago we haven't done a podcast actually in like a few weeks, but
Yeah.
my my son and I went out and absolutely cleaned a house. Man, we shot 6 squirrels and a raccoon
Did you eat
in
the
a single
raccoon?
morning. Yeah, the raccoon's all butchered up in the freezer right now.
Oh,
It's
so you
like
haven't
we
eaten
have
it yet?
no, we haven't eaten it yet, but we cooked up all those squirrels on that day. Um, pulled all the meat, and then I froze it, and then got back from Miami, and now it's thawing out, and we're gonna do tamales.
Very nice, very nice. You need to
Yeah,
do more like a more sauce with your tamales.
yeah. Why?
I'm critiquing them. They look like they're mostly meat. Need a little more seasoning in there.
Oh, you're talking inside.
Yeah, yeah. Like
Yeah. So
you need some
our kind of
adobos or some, you know, something.
you know, it would be really good mole
Yeah, right, right.
inside of yeah, that would be
Yeah,
really
like a
good
red
actually.
mole, not like the chocolate one. Well, the chocolate one would be okay too.
Dude, chocolate mole is what mole was.
Yeah,
You know?
but not anymore. There's like
Yeah.
32 different moles. Okay. including
Yeah,
a gringo mole.
yeah. What I always think is funny is you look at a mole that you buy and it always has wheat flour in it. And I'm like, okay, I know ancient Mexicans didn't have wheat.
No, it was corn.
Yeah,
It was corn.
definitely corn. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. That's like when people tell me they love tacos, and then you're like, oh yeah, like cilantro, onion, like Mexican tacos. Oh no, what? Cheese and lettuce. Like,
Cheese and lettuce.
don't get me wrong, I
Yeah,
like white people taco night too, but
I don't.
what?
No,
I
I
still
don't.
like a crunchy hard shell, but yeah, dude, I love tortillas and freaking meat on there. That's skirt steak, whatever, with cilantro and onion. That's or lingua,
Yeah,
whatever you
yeah,
got on
man.
hand.
I can't stand. In fact, I never liked it growing up, right? And then when I started, I was like 20. I started hanging out with Mexicans all the time.
Hmm.
I got introduced to like what real Mexican food was,
Right.
and I was like, oh my god, this is amazing,
Yeah,
because
it's
I
not
I was
El Paso that or whatever that's on the table all the time, or Ortega.
yeah. I remember being a kid and just like hating, like we'd have tacos
Hmm.
sometimes, but it'd be hard shell tacos, and I just remember just hating it, like just being like irritated, like, oh
Oh no, I
great, now I
still
got
like them. I was talking to, I mentioned this same thing, the subject we're on right now, and Michael Baker and I were talking about it, and he
uh
said, he goes, yeah, we actually made burritos, but we called them tacos in my household, like flour tortillas, and took them and pulled them up with like ground taco meat with the package of seasoning and stuff. And he's like, I can't remember what he said, sour cream and something in it was what they always put. And I'm like, yeah, I love real burritos with like potatoes in them and weird stuff,
mm,
But yeah, I thought it was funny because he said like, yeah, we used to call those tacos. I was like, oh, we used to call those burritos, but but
mm.
yeah, we used to do the hard shells like you're talking about. But I still eat them. I'll tear them up. My kids still eat them too, but that way
Ugh.
they prefer it that way.
Really?
Right now they're on a nacho kick.
Okay. Nachos are good. Like I could do if you made all the same stuff that's on a hard shell taco, but just put it on nachos,
You're all good.
then
It's
I'm all
all
good.
good.
Yeah. I just don't want to eat that stupid thing that falls. It always cracks down the middle and everything falls
Well,
out of the
you
bottom.
gotta bake them. You gotta like you gotta crisp them up in a little bit in the oven, and it kind of softens them up. Releases
Oh.
all those homogenated oils, seed oils.
Okay. Well, honestly, I'm going to tell you something maybe embarrassing then. We never did that growing up. I never even knew
Oh
that
yeah, you got to
until,
heat them up. That's why they
yeah.
crack. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm 41 years old. Never heard that in my life.
I wouldn't want to eat one like that either if it wasn't heated up. Normally, you turn the oven on, you put them on like a cookie sheet and put them in there, and then you take them out and you
Hmm.
fill them with the stuff.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, holy crap. Okay. Well, uh, you know, that,
Now
that
that
kind of
explains
reminds,
a lot.
uh, I feel like I was sheltered with many things in life. Here's another embarrassing tale I can tell.
Let's hear it.
Um, so my mom is very religious, like still to this day, and all growing up, we lived in a pretty dang religious household. Like
Hmm.
I was not allowed to listen to secular music.
Oh wow.
So
So like,
yeah, so like, yeah,
okay,
I had to listen to like Christian rock
you had the
and things like,
newsboys.
yeah, I did actually.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's funny you say that. And so my mom, because of her zeal for Christianity, um, she told us all growing up that deviled eggs were called angel eggs.
Oh wow.
So
Okay, okay. Yeah,
okay,
to the
okay,
extreme of yeah.
yeah. So then I'm out as an adult in my 20s, and I hadn't come across a party where there's any angel eggs yet.
Hmm.
And I finally like get to a spot and there's like a whole platter of these things, and I'm just calling them angel eggs because like I had no idea.
Okay.
And everybody there is like looking at me like, what is this idiot talking about? This guy's talking about angel. They're like, these are deviled eggs. And I go, what? No, no, those are angel eggs.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there arguing with these people about what they're called, and I was the one who was wrong. because my mom misled me my whole life.
Yeah, I get it. I see it. My mom was never like that. She's super religious, and I mean, I thank her for that, and that upbringing. But she was never to the point where she'd completely like change the names of things. Here's an example, like the music I grew up on versus you then, because my dad never went to church or anything, but like I discovered his old record collection when I was a kid,
Mm.
and like freaking just awesome stuff. Ted Nugent's live in '79 at Hammersmith. Peter Frampton, Frampton's Camel. Joe Walsh, Frank Zappa. Right, that's like the stuff I grew up on. I
Mm.
My first concert that was a real concert, not a Christian concert. Not that that's not a real concert, but nobody would know who I was talking about if I said who it was, other
Mm.
than you probably. But
Yeah.
was a Carmen concert.
Mm.
Um, but then my dad took me to like my first rock concert, right? And I was wearing a shirt today. In fact, I still have the shirt. I was wearing it, and my kids go, "When did you get that shirt?" And I said, "About 28 years ago." And they go, "What?" It was the Jethro Tull T-shirt.
Oh my god, that's
And
funny.
they go, "Where did you get it?" And I go, "At a Jethro Tull concert." And they're like, "What?" And I said, "Yeah, it was supposed to be me and my buddy, but he got in trouble and couldn't go. So then my dad ended up going with me because like we had it all planned out. We were gonna take the train. We were gonna go up there. We were like, I think 14,
Mhm.
maybe gonna be 15, something like that, right in there. 14, I think we were 14. We were gonna take the train up to the city and like go to this concert and everything. And then he ended up getting arrested, got in trouble. And then they're like, "Were you with him?" I was like, "I was with him that day. I wasn't with him when he got arrested, if that's what you're asking." Like, no. But no, it was just like, underage stuff that wouldn't matter if you're old enough anyway. We all lived a different life. But
Yeah.
yeah, so like needless to say though, like completely different ends of the spectrum there that my dad took me to a Jethro Tull concert. There's just like I remember though there was pot smoke just like floating around once the lights went off, right? You'd see like a
Mhm.
flick of a lighter here and there, and then all of a sudden you just see like once the concert lights came on, there's just this haze floating, and I'm like, holy cow, like this is a lot of weed for and back then it was illegal. Like now it's probably no big deal, right? But
Yeah.
back then it was illegal and it was still the whole place and it was just a bunch of old dudes. Kind of funny.
Oh, that is funny. Yeah. When I was just in Miami, there were so many people just openly smoking weed on the streets,
Oh, that's weird. Yeah.
and it's not even legal there. But
They just don't
but
care.
yeah, yeah. There's only medical in Florida. Um, I don't know, but
Maybe they
oh,
all had
before
like
yeah,
glaucoma or something from the intense UV rays of the sun and
yeah,
never wearing I don't know.
yeah.
Sunglasses. Who am I to judge?
Yeah, I know. But before I forget, I actually do want to say, put it out there. If anybody is a listener from Florida and you are interested in helping me to identify local flora and fauna, um, send me a message. Hit me up on Instagram or Facebook, or send Luke an email.
Or not, just hit us up. Slide into our DMs on the
Yeah,
socials and
yeah,
we'll go from there. Uh,
yeah.
maybe they want to hunt with us. Maybe
Oh,
maybe we want to go kill some gators.
oh, that'd be really cool. Have
Wouldn't
you ever
it?
eaten gator?
Yeah, all the time. I love it. Well, not all the time. I
Oh,
shouldn't say all the
no.
time.
Yeah.
Used to go pretty religiously to a Cajun restaurant that the guy used to fly the stuff in from like Louisiana.
No way.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's super
He
cool.
used to go down there like twice a month and like hand pick, different stuff from different vendors and then have it shipped throughout the month to his restaurant and Gator. Yeah.
That's super cool. I've never eaten it, so no
Really?
idea.
Tastes like
Yeah.
I hate to say this, kind of tastes like chicken. Um
Just like chicken.
it's good. Okay. Picture like if catfish and chicken had a baby, that's what it would be like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
You're eating a giant
Wow.
lizard.
Yeah. Oh man, I really want to try the iguanas too that are down there in Florida.
Absolutely. You know what? Let's find some cheapo airfare,
Uh,
fly down and like just take a rental car to the Keys, sleep in the car. Not like it's gonna be a big deal. It's gonna be nice anyway. We
Yeah.
just won't drink any Ollipops or have any fartichokes,
Yeah.
and we'll be good sleeping in the car or on the beach until you get kicked out. Um, and just kill a bunch of iguanas and come back. Like come back with a cooler full of iguanas.
That'd be super cool. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, the tickets that I found to Florida were $63 each for round trip. So it
Yeah,
was pretty.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. If we did that and just spent like a weekend and
Mhm,
then took a rental car like down to the Keys from Miami,
mhm.
wouldn't be bad. I don't know, what is that, like
No.
4 hour drive maybe?
Yeah, we went down to, I think we got as far as Isla Morada or whatever in the,
Yeah.
is it Isla or is, I don't know.
I don't know. I call it Isla of the Murata, but I could
Oh,
be
okay,
wrong.
yeah. Yeah, we were there. We went that far. We took our rental car down there and yeah, it was pretty cool. I didn't see any iguanas, but I also was like we were just kind of like looking for a spot to go swimming on the beach.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And yeah. And then we went to a Thai restaurant. So wasn't really looking for iguanas.
How was the Cuban food?
Cuban food was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I can't believe how good it is. And like the contrast to like how I was eating, I
Hmm.
was like doing the carnivore, like Cuban food, and actually a lot of the food in Miami in general, it seems like it's very carb heavy.
Beans, a lot of
And
beans and a lot of rice. Yeah.
well, and then plantains
Plantains, yep, yep.
and yucca and all that stuff. And yeah, I mean, but I felt great. I still feel so much better with carbs in my system.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
So there was a point in time to where I eliminated all carbs other than like vegetables.
Hmm.
It was like 2 weeks. I went pretty much paleo, I guess you would say,
Hmm.
but like modified, like anti-inflammatory paleo.
Hmm.
That was rough. I did that. Well, I ate that way for almost a year, but like it might have been like the first 2 months. There would be a certain time of day where my body would almost just like it'd be like 10:30, maybe 9:30 in the morning. My body would just be like, "Pew." Like somebody turned the dial back on the energy, and like I just felt like a bag of D's, man. Seriously.
Oh, that sucks.
And then
How long?
it lasted for like about 2 months, and then I ate that way for almost a year, though.
Wow.
I felt great eating that way. I will say once I got to that point, but I would also
Mm,
like I would eat like for breakfast, for instance, diced sweet potatoes with like onion and kale mixed in there, and
mm.
like three uh, eggs over easy on top, whatever. So it wasn't
Oh, that
like,
sounds
oh
delicious.
yeah, it was it was great. Some
Yeah.
garlic thrown in there, whatever, sauteed in the skillet, and then the eggs thrown on top. Like I was eating good, and my
Mm,
body knew it, but it was like getting over that carb hump first to where you
yeah.
didn't have like that, like from rice or whatever. And for a while there, like I didn't eat breakfast foods for breakfast. I would always eat like a meal of whatever,
Mm,
and so my body was kind of used to that too. So it was a bigger shock.
yeah. I I'm gonna start doing Wild Food Wednesdays. I'm gonna actually start posting about it to keep myself like on it. I gotta
Okay.
start making a post so I can remind myself to do it. But I was actually thinking today, like, I wonder if I should to make it more challenging, like cut out wild rice because I have right now I have like enough game meat and wild rice that
You
I
could survive the
easily
apocalypse. Yeah.
yeah and but I'm just saying like I kind of want to make it more of like a challenge, but maybe not. Maybe I'll get sick of eating wild rice and game meat and maple syrup, you
Yeah.
know.
You know what I'm looking forward to, and I hope it happens. I really, really do, because the other day I applied is a bison. I
Oh,
put
you
in
applied the other
I
day?
put in again this year. Um,
Where?
now South Dakota. It's
Okay.
on a reservation, but it's like
Hmm.
large. They're free. It's a free range herd, but they pretty much stay within the boundaries of the and they migrate out or whatever, but there's still always bison on this land, right?
Hmm.
Um, and then I know it's not like a huge hunt, but to me it's just cool because there's like this old sense of, what was, what used to be, and being
Hmm.
able to do that. If that makes sense. Because a lot of people
Yeah.
are like, we talked to Donnie Dustin. Donnie was like, well, I don't really see bison as hunting, blah, 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 this and that, because of, one, it's not the true species anymore. It's probably intermixed with cattle or whatever at some point, and then like repopulated that way or whatever, and then mix back with other bison to try and get all those characteristics. But it's not even that to me. It's just like the sense of history, the sense of knowing what was on the
Hmm.
landscape, what is and what was, and being able to be in what was,
Yeah.
if that makes
Uh,
sense.
Well, I mean, geez, plus bison would be so good.
Well, not to mention, yeah, it's not like it's being fed a bunch of corn or, GMO
Mhm.
corn or whatever. They probably don't even spray the grasslands that it's eating.
So,
Hopefully,
so how many people get one of these tags?
I don't know. But so the way it works, because it is a reservation, but it's a managed game population, it it goes by member, non-member, but it's like member, like a tribal member, and then an affiliate member, and then a complete non-member. I'm a complete non-member, so I have less of a chance of getting
Hmm.
one than a member. But a member, I think if they get one, they can't get another one for like a couple years, 2 years or something like that. So it does kind of give you a chance within there, and I can buy extra points. Like they get a tag for free, I think, and then I put for all my chances, it's like $10 a chance. I can buy 5 chances, and I get an extra chance or maybe 2 chances because I didn't draw last year. So I'm looking at like
Wow,
7 to 10, 7 and 7, maybe 10 chances somewhere in there, um, to be able to hopefully draw.
dude, that's awesome.
So that'll be really cool if I do that.
Hmm.
Gonna have to have somebody film it, hopefully, and
Yeah.
then just yeah, and then be able to. And I'm debating because it's hard for me. I don't really want to because one, I don't want to spend the money, and I don't really mount animals. I've got a lot of like European skull mounts and stuff.
Hmm.
I'm kind of thinking I want to mount the bison just because it'd be really really cool. But at
Hmm.
the same time, I'm like, maybe I'll just get the skull and like mount the skull. You can put like a red LED inside of it so like it glows, like backlight up against the wall. Yeah, I don't know.
Bison skulls are so big.
Yeah.
Those things are
So is a
enormous.
bison mount though. but
Yeah.
but I just think it'd be really really cool, you know. Um,
Ways to piss off your wife.
no, she said she's like I don't know, but nonetheless, I'm going to keep the hide. I'm going to have the
Ah,
hide tanned and make like either a blanket or a really really cool coat out of it.
oh man, got to do that for sure.
Which one, the coat or the blanket?
Either one.
I
I'm
think a
just saying,
bison coat, either a grizzly bear fur or a bison coat, is in like my bucket list.
dude. My bucket list would be doing the thing Meriwether Lewis did, is get a bison robe, a tan robe, and then literally sleep out on the plains in it like a sleeping bag.
Like Donnie Dust does.
Yeah,
When he's not
just
sleeping
sleep.
in a squirrel's nest, he's sleeping in a or a Sasquatch sleeping bag, whatever he said it was.
Yeah.
No, I agree
Dude.
with you. I think it would be pretty cool. But that's like, so then do you get like claw buttons or what do you use? The bison horn for the
I don't
buttons? You
know.
know what I mean? Like I don't know. All these thoughts just in my head. Hopefully they let me use my bow. I think they would. If not, then I'll feel like an actual train car guy and using a rifle and use it. Of course, it'll be like a trapdoor 4570 or something, and that way I'll feel like just a genocidal mass murderer of bison.
So this is like on a native reservation, is what you're saying?
Yeah, yeah,
So it's like a managed herd, and they
correct.
have like open prairie to roam on. But I'm imagining like what, like how many, like 15,000, 20,000 acres or something,
There's two
or
parcels. I don't know. I could look it up.
yeah. Okay.
Um,
Well, either way,
like
I didn't know if it was like, because like sometimes people will kind of be like downplay a high fence.
No, I don't believe this is high fence at all.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah. I don't want to tell people what one it is because then like everybody will apply and ruin my chances if I
yeah.
don't apply this
Yeah.
year. You know what I mean? Some things have to be kept secret, but um, if they
I
were
gotta,
willing to
yeah.
do their own research, um, there's two units. One is I think 15,000 acres clay. I don't know how you knew that. Another one is 6,000 acres.
Oh
And
wow. Okay. Still pretty big
yeah,
though.
yeah,
Dang.
yeah.
Um, but man, I gotta apply for Kentucky elk.
$10.
Is it $10?
It's $10.
Did I already miss the window? I'm like so not on my ball with that stuff, you know?
No, no. I don't think so. Maybe. Let's look it up, Clay, so then everybody knows to apply for it. And then they can
Yeah.
screw up our chances of drawing. It doesn't matter. There's so many people that apply for it. What I find funny
Yeah.
is people out west, because everybody goes out west naturally, because that's where the largest populations of elk are.
Yeah.
And people are like, well, I need to apply just so I can let you guys get a taste of your own medicine. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. Who cares? Whatever. Like not a big deal. Good for you if you draw. But people
Yeah.
make it a big deal like they're, trying to give us Midwesties a taste of our own medicine.
Yeah. Does Illinois have elk right now?
Um, like a reintroduce. So only in areas, I think there's one up north, and it's a very small managed herd that
Hmm.
is fenced in.
Oh, okay.
Like we have bison in
Hmm.
Illinois, but it's fenced in managed herd. Actually, not too far from me. It's like
Wow.
pretty close.
Oh yeah. I actually used to live right 2 minute walk from a bison farm.
Oh,
There's like
yeah. No, I mean
yeah.
this isn't a farm. It's a the herd gets to free range within the fence, which is a large area.
Yeah, I mean that's what
Yeah,
I'm talking about.
yeah,
The same thing. But it's like I don't know, maybe 200 acres.
yeah, yeah. I think
Yeah.
it might be a couple thousand acres around, or at least 1,000 acres. Like it's a lot. It was an old munitions plant that
Oh,
got
cool.
turned into just it's federal lands. It's not state lands, which was cool. Like during COVID, when
Mhm.
our state got like extremely crazy and had a super knee jerk reaction with the fact that like let's close down the woods because
That's
hunters
crazy.
don't socially distance from other hunters. They congregate. I'm still mad about that. I am still
Yeah.
super bitter about the fact that my turkey tag got taken from me and I never got reimbursed or anything.
Really?
Yeah. And it's not even the fact that I didn't get reimbursed. I don't care. The dollars go to conservation. You know what I mean? Or at least most of it
Mhm.
is earmarked for conservation. And I'm cool with that. But the fact that it wasn't like, we're sorry, you're guaranteed to get a tag next year or something like that,
Mhm.
just completely ignored me about that. That hurts. That
What a
hurts
bummer, man.
Illinois. There's still salt in that wound.
So what's it say about Kentucky?
It's loading right now,
Mm.
but Kentucky draw is earlier than previous. Oh, dang. The draw opened up January 1st.
Oh, okay.
Season is October 5th. Um, oh, no, wait. What? That's weird. Why does it say that? And then it says earlier than previous annual start date of January 1st. Okay, so, oh, no, that's the season. Permit
Well,
application opens up August 1st.
oh, dang. So you have to apply in August, and then you find out you just got a real short window of time to
But
actually.
it says August 1st, a year before the hunts, and continues through April 30th in the year of the hunts. So that's a very long application process.
Hmm, okay.
From 4 months to 9 months. So it's open for 9 months. The application period is open for 9 months. So it starts the previous year in August.
Okay.
So this year in August, we could apply for 2025 hunt.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, it's $10. Hunters may apply for all three permits if desired. So that would be like a general tag, either sex tag, and then like archery or something,
Yeah.
or a bull only. But man, that's not bad. Five to
Yeah.
ten percent of elk permits go unclaimed each season. That's what it
What
says.
is what does that mean though? Like they
So somebody draws and they don't pay for the permit because it's $10 to apply. The permit itself isn't $10, so it's $10 to apply. And if you
Mhm.
draw, you have to pay the rest. Well,
which
maybe
is like
these.
$600.
Yeah, it's still not bad. I think it is. It's like $600 or something.
Yeah. I mean that's a lot of money for sure, but
Yeah, but it's a lot of meat. I mean,
mhm,
if you're successful, now chances are you wouldn't be successful. That's one thing you have to understand about Kentucky is a lot of it's private land. It's not all
mhm.
national forest or Bureau of Land Management land or whatever out west. Like out west, there's tons of tracts of, you know, millions of acres that you can hunt.
Yeah.
It's not like that in Kentucky. You know, you've got a few national forests and stuff like that. But you know, if you don't have a guide that has access and leases with people to where, or like some type of access agreement to where
Mhm,
he's like, yeah, we can hunt this farm, we can hunt this farm, you know, because we're going from this public land onto their farm or whatever, or using their farm to get to
mhm.
some public land that might be landlocked or something. I could see that would be a problem and you wouldn't be successful and then you just waste the tag. So if it's something like that, honestly, you'd be better off hiring a guide or an outfitter, which might be, you know, 400 or 500 bucks a day. I don't see it taking more than that to get on an animal anyway.
Yeah. Hmm.
It's a lot of meat. A
Yeah, it's
lot
a
of
lot of
meat.
meat. I've been applying for the Michigan tag for about 7 or 8 years, and
That's a really
you know,
small herd though, right? Like I mean it's not.
oh yeah, I think 200 people get a tag each year, and
Yeah,
then
what
10
that's
out.
pretty good. And only 10 are
Mhm.
successful?
No, 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 10 out of staters. I think is what if you are applying and you're from you're not in Michigan. I think it's something like that. I don't know. I
Have
could be
you
totally
encountered
wrong.
the elk herds in Michigan?
Oh yeah, when we were picking chanterelles a couple summers ago out in Vanderbilt, which is like really close to where the herd is, you know.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, we saw four beautiful bulls in a field eating grass.
Really?
Yeah, and we were just picking chanterelles, and then drove down the way, and yeah, man, awesome. It was super cool to see that in Michigan. You know.
Yeah, that would be cool. Now you got me thinking I need to apply. What if I'm that one out of stater? I wonder what the regulations are for that. Do you happen to know? Like, do I need a license to even apply for it, or is it something that I can apply for and not have to have a license?
I don't know for you. I don't know. But either way, I know that if you apply and then get a bull only, you can't ever apply again.
Oh, it's a lifetime.
So yeah, so it's a lifetime. That's how they lower the amount of people applying, right? So like anybody who gets that tag is not getting it again. But if you do get a cow tag, which is probably what I would go for, I
I
just
don't care
I
either way. Yeah.
yeah. So if I get a cow tag, then I can wait 10 years and then start applying again. So, might be
Oh,
able to in my lifetime, get two.
yeah. No, that's cool. That makes me want to do it.
But I tell you what, I really am bothered though with how they run the elk in Michigan, and that they keep them contained into one area and they won't let them go out. So like everybody that gets to hunt them, they're encouraged to hunt at the edges, you know.
Encourage because yeah, I get it. You want
Yeah, they don't
keep
want
them
the
from
elk.
migrating out
Yeah,
due to
and I think
agricultural reasons and
just stuff like
highway
that. And
collisions and yeah, I get it.
yeah, so they want to keep them in the Pigeon River State area, and
Are they pretty
they
much maintained like in that
yeah,
area? They don't
yeah,
really get out.
no, not really.
Mm, sad. It
Yeah.
almost makes you want to take some horse trailers. Allegedly, not that you would ever do this, but just start moving like 1 bull and 3 cows somewhere else. I'm not saying I would do it or anybody else should do it, but if you live in Michigan and you don't really care and you know, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be crazy? Somebody like wakes up in Sleeping Bear Dunes and they're like, hear a
Bugle
elk,
in September.
hear a,
That would be
yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
That'd be
yeah,
great.
yeah. I don't know why it bothers me. Like all the other states have elk, that, and they allow them to roam free,
Yeah,
right?
no,
Like
honestly,
like
in Illinois, I wish they would reintroduce elk. I
mhm.
wish they would reintroduce the black bear.
Wait,
Um,
the black bear is not in Illinois?
no,
Really? Because Michigan numbers are through the roof,
no,
apparently. Like
no, not that I know of.
you take some of ours.
Here's I think so. The Bears, or really anything else, would have to make it across like the 8094 corridor right there, because that's like the northern tip of Illinois, right? That separates
Mhm.
the other states. And that's just such a massive highway system. Not to mention there's not a lot of cover for them. I mean, it's all concrete. You know what I mean? Even
Mhm.
even the neighborhoods and what it's neighborhoods. Very
Well,
urban.
what about migration from the south? I mean, there's got to be bears south of Illinois, right?
Not many. The most of them were driven to near extinction
Hmm.
throughout the South. Missouri, um, Arkansas might. I think Arkansas. No, Arkansas does have bears now. Missouri
Mhm.
might if they're migrating down, but I'm pretty sure most of Arkansas doesn't even have bears, other than like right on the Arkansas Oklahoma border there.
Hmm.
And that was a reintroduction, which was successful. But yeah, I
Wow.
mean, like to think about, and that makes me sad though,
Mhm.
because can you imagine being like Daniel Boone
Yeah.
and seeing the decline then, right? But like being on the leading edge of it, knowing that you're taking part of it, making a living off of it, but at the same time noticing the decline, and then people like
Mhm.
us never even fathoming. Most people don't even stop to contemplate that or think about. If you're a non-hunter, do
Mhm.
you think they even take the time of day to think about that? That it like these animals don't exist here? They probably think they never did exist.
Yeah.
But there used to be plains elk just bugling and screaming and bison everywhere and black bears,
Yeah.
like wolves, all of it. And now
No.
none.
Yeah. Daniel Boone was killing elk and buffalo in freaking Kentucky.
Cutting the humps off and just eating the
Yeah.
humps. Yeah, like for real. Shoot an entire bison and let it lay to waste, cutting the hump off and roasting the hump and moving on. You know what I'm saying? But there were so many of them, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
But it was as more people started coming out that it did make a big
Yeah.
difference. But that's nuts, man.
I know. Pretty crazy. Important message for us. But either way, it is currently for me.
No, we don't care about bedtime.
Yeah, it's time for me to go
All
to
right.
bed.
But with that, in closing, stop and contemplate that, folks. Urge your legislators and your local fish and wildlife to maybe start reintroducing things, um, so we can have it for at least my own selfish reasons that I want to hunt them, but also
Yeah.
because I would like to see the landscape somewhat restored, and maybe not so much of the spread of concrete, but the spread of wilderness.
Yeah, man. I think that would be awesome, actually. And that's sad that you guys don't have bears. I didn't know that.
No,
I thought the bear numbers were going up all over the country
no,
because,
we have mountain lions.
okay,
Well,
yeah,
okay, I can't say that we have them.
they're
We have,
transient.
yeah, or so they say. But there's a
Hmm.
lot of people that, and now it could be the same cat on the camera that you see in a 20-mile radius or 30-mile. I mean,
Yeah,
they go like what 200 and something to mate sometimes. Like it's a crazy amount. But yeah, but slowly starting to see more and more, nonetheless.
wow. Well, yeah, that is it's kind of freaky to think about.
Yep.
We have them here too, and yeah, I've been more and more just thinking about I need to start like packing heat while I'm out in the woods.
Stay strapped or get clapped, Clay. That's the bottom line. Also, PSA to everybody, other than stay strapped or get clapped, because that's real. That's real. On the real, folks. Stay strapped or get clapped. And also, don't be so narrow-minded. Give somebody a chance. Sit down at a table, have some coffee with them, and discuss things in a civil manner, nonetheless. Don't let your head explode and wish somebody else's head explodes too. And with that being said, we're out. And once again, thank you so much for listening to the Publicly Challenged podcast. I hope you enjoyed the show, and if you did, please subscribe on whatever platform it is you're listening to. Also, if you could leave a review, that would help us out. And you can check us out on Instagram or at publiclychallenged.com. And once again, thank you so much for listening to the show.